daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Newcastle. My name is Iain Mackay. I'm your host tonight. I am solo. Michael was due to be on. Don't know where he's gone. But he's gone. So it's me on my own again to preview tomorrow night's game. Newcastle United against Tottenham Hotspur at St James's Park. Kick-off 8:15. It's on the telly. Don't miss it. And it's a much more positive, excited match preview than we've had in recent weeks. Fantastic performance at home against Manchester City in our last home game. A brilliant performance away at Everton on Saturday night. So have we turned a corner? They're the first time that we won 2 consecutive Premier League games this season. And the really exciting part about that is that we've got Tottenham tomorrow and Burnley on Saturday, which could be 4 consecutive league wins. I know I'm counting my chickens before they hatch, but I do think that if we go in with the right attitude, we've got too much for both of these teams. We'll get a little bit more into Tottenham a little bit later on in the podcast, but very exciting. We are 5 points off 5th place, 5 points off the European places, with maybe 6 coming in the next few days. And the games keep coming thick and fast, and still a lot of home games to come before Christmas. I'm really hoping we're in the thick of it by the end of the year. But we do need to put one of Eddie Howe's famous winning streaks together to be able to do that. And I've got a gut feel that we're about to do that. Anyway, we face a Tottenham side who weren't very good when I was there and watched us beat them 2-0 in the Carabao Cup at the end of October. They were missing a number of players that night, and they had very little to offer. They're a team that are far much more in disarray as we approach the game tomorrow. They've performed pretty poorly away from home against Arsenal in the North London derby. I lost 4-1. Fantastic goal for the one, but they really didn't look like scoring any, and they could have conceded a lot more. They lost 5-3 at PSG, and I think they played quite well in that game. PSG just had too much for them going forward. And then they weren't very good, and they haven't been very good at home all season when they lost 2-1 to Fulham. And I think that game is a bit of a clue as to how I think this game will unfold, because Tottenham were 2 down after the first 6 minutes. And I do think, I'm thinking back a few years when we were 3 up in the first 10 against them, that if we can blitz them like that at the start, we might be on for a similar sort of performance. But, we don't need it to be that. We just need to have scored one more goal than them by the end, and I will be delighted. So Eddie Howe held his press conference this morning with a brief update on injuries. Not a lot of time passed for anything really to have improved. Asula is still out. Sven Botman is seeing a specialist about this back problem that he has. It's not his knee, which is a relief, but I don't like to see Sven out injured at all. And no update on Nick Pope's face-saving groin injury. Is it a face-saving groin injury? He reported it after the training, and anyway, no update, which means no chance that he's going to come back in. I think Howe has been talking recently, talking up Nick Pope, and he's a great shot stopper. We love Nick Pope, but it was definitely time for Aaron Ramsdale to take over, and he grabbed his chance, I think, with a very assured performance. Didn't have a lot of saves to make against Everton, but you could just see the whole team was looking forward when the ball went back to Ramsdale, like an extra man in the passing movements to be able to build from the back, a world away from what it's like when Nick Pope is sweeping up at the back there. So, one good bit of news that came out was that Yoane Wissa had actually taken part in an 11-a-side game, which is a great step forward. He's got another one coming this week. And to be honest, if he's doing his pre-season and they'd had two 11-a-side games, I would have said that he's at the point where he'll be ready for a substitute appearance. Maybe in the Burnley game even. Don't know. Maybe that's too soon. Maybe they'll take him to Leverkusen for the Wednesday week after, or then of course it's Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. I nearly got the name of that place wrong. But Wisser seems to be making great progress, and we might see him soon. When you watch Newcastle play against Everton, where will he fit in? Who could he replace in that team? We did so well. No further injuries or knocks reported. Obviously, Gordon's had another week's training. He'll be a bit fitter and a bit more raring to go after his hip injury. So we look like we're almost as at least as strong as we were against Everton. And there were a number of big names got a bit of a rest during that game. So questions about whether we're rotating. Is the Tottenham game the one to rotate in when we've got Burnley at home on the weekend? Maybe that's a slightly easier game to rest some of the big guns before the Leverkusen game. I don't know. Only Eddie Howe knows. But I am going to have a go at picking a starting lineup in part two. I think it's only right to say that Tottenham are going to be stronger than they were when we played them, in that Romero and Van de Ven will probably come into defence. Vicario will probably play in goal, although he got booed by his own fans um, for a mistake that he made. But he's a great goalkeeper, and I'm not really sure what they're booing him for. Um, I don't think we'd boo Nick Pope just because he's playing in goal. He's made a mistake or two, but we haven't so far. We still love him. But they are severely weakened. A lot of their big names have been out for quite some time. I think it's Solanke keeps nearly being ready, but not back yet. Madison, obviously, terrible injury just at the start of the season, and I think he's out for the duration. Kulishevsky is injured. I think it's Kulishevsky who's injured as well. He's another great player. So they may well be looking at Richarlison leading the line, or Kolo Muani, someone who we were linked with at the end of the transfer window. We ended up with Faltamada. Nobody's worried about that. Kolo Muani scored a couple of goals in Europe. Not sure if he's quite up to speed with the Premier League yet, but it's a team. Tottenham is a team in a little bit of disarray. And listening to Thomas Frank's press conference today, he was talking about indirectly about the fans booing the goalkeeper not being what he wants. He wants the home ground to become a fortress, and immediately switched onto what a fortress St James's Park was for Newcastle, and it was always a very, very tough game to come to play at Newcastle. And it is, particularly under the lights. I had a stat that we haven't lost a midweek game at St James's Park since 2021. Can that be true? I didn't do the research myself. I just heard somebody else say it, and I was quite surprised. But we do have a very good record under lights. That can't be right because we lost to Liverpool in the dark, did we not? Just this year. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know where I heard that from. Obviously, they were talking rubbish. Maybe it's a Wednesday night match or a Tuesday night match, midweek rather than Monday. I don't know. Obviously, somebody's convoluted it. Ignore what I'm saying. We've got a very good record under the lights, and at St James's Park, the atmosphere is ratcheted up a couple more degrees, and away teams find it very, very difficult. Just ask Barcelona, ask Benfica, ask Athletic Club. Couldn't live with it. Anyway, let's have a go at picking the team, but only after we've heard from Big Bad Ken.
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
And right now is part 2, where we have a look at the Newcastle team that might be starting tomorrow night against Tottenham. In goal, got to be Ramsdale. There's no Pope to compete. Ramsdale obviously was his first start. He doesn't need rotating or resting. Fullbacks, I really hope that we play the same fullbacks as we did against Everton, Livramento and Hall. I know Hall has to get his minutes managed, but I think there's scope in this game for Hall to do at least an hour before Burns switches across to take over and Shah comes on, let's say, to allow that to happen. I'm going to go with Livramento and Hall. In fact, I think Howe will play Burn at left side centre half. Again, he did have a game out from his suspension. And I don't see how he could possibly rotate Chow out, scoring 2 goals and being just as assured as ever. To be fair, he's played the City game, he's played the Marseille game, and he's played the Everton game. So, I mean, he might be due to be rotated out, in which case I think it's a straight swap with Shah. But I wouldn't do that, and I don't think Eddie Howe will do that. I think we might get Chow off after 60 minutes for Shah to come on, give him a bit of a rest. Hopefully we'll be 3 or 4 up by then. Midfield's interesting. Tonali sat out the Everton game, and you would think he was normally the first man on our team sheet. He's been an absolute colossus this year. He's shone when others haven't, and he's really shone when we've played well. I think Tonali will come back in, but it's who he replaces, because Lewis Miley was given a start and really excelled in standing in for Tonali. But I don't think it'd be right for Miley to drop back down to the bench. By the same token, I don't think Guimaraes will be left out for a home game against Tottenham. This is where we really need to crowd up. So I think it'll be Tonali, Miley, and Guimaraes, which would mean it'd be Joe Linton that sat out. And of course, Joe Linton sat out the Marseille game. So maybe Eddie Howe's got a plan, and this is the game that Bruno will miss out on. Or maybe it's always been the case that Miley will sit this one out because he knows he's coming back in against Burnley. I don't know. I would like to see Tonali, Guimaraes, and Miley in midfield. Eddie, of course, has the final decision, and he doesn't consult me, so I can't really shed any light on that. Up front, Barnes, with all of 5 goals in 4 games, 4 goals in 5 games. Should maybe have had a couple against Everton as well, but for Pickford playing quite well when he was face to face with Barnes. He made a couple of great saves. I think Barnes has got to continue. Gordon must be chomping at the bit to get started. And I know Howe will be chomping at the bit to get him into the team as well. But I think Barnes will start. I think Voltemada can only be Voltemada that starts up front, unless Gordon starts at centre forward. But Voltemada looked refreshed against Everton and scored that wonderful goal. Held the ball up and played it round the corner for Elanga to run through in the first minute to get the corner from which we scored. I think Voltemada's a key man there. Right wing's interesting. Elanga could be rotated for Murphy, could be rotated for Gordon. But I think Elanga, we saw something against Elanga. From Elanga, a bit more than ever. And he looked a little bit more like a £55 million winger against Everton. Got his first assist, obviously raced through and had the shot that in the first minute to get the corner from which Chow scored the first goal. So what would I do? What would I do? I think we'll have. I think Tottenham will be playing with Udogie and Porro at fullback, who love to step into the field, become midfielders, start pushing up, leaves huge spaces down the flanks. From what I can see, Tottenham have packed they've gone very narrow in recent games. They've packed it. The space is going to be down the wings. That's where Newcastle are going to hurt. I think Alanga keeps his place. He linked up really well with um, Livramento, particularly for the ball over the top that he ran onto to set up Voltamada against Everton. I think it'll stay the same. So maybe my choice is that we just stay exactly the same and we reward those guys who played so well and just turn out the same. Or one change, Tonali comes in for Joe Linton. I don't think he's going to do a lot of changes. I think we've got 2 games coming up. We need to win both of them. On paper, the Tottenham game looks tougher than the Burnley game. Don't play on paper, of course, but a win against Tottenham takes the pressure off a little bit against Burnley. So I think we'll be all out to beat Tottenham. I think that'll be, the strongest team he can put out. And he'll worry about rotation against Burnley. There will be scope if we do start fast and Tottenham cave, as they're rather prone to do early on. There'll be scope for people to come off and after an hour, maybe even at half time. Um, so that's how I think it's going to go. I think we're going to go and blitz them, and I think it will. The key players will be the 2 fullbacks with Barnes and Alanga working space down the sides. To be honest, if that's the case, you could play Murphy putting crosses in. You could play Gordon going round the fullback. They'd all have a field day, I think. Anyway, that's my choice. Tottenham's team don't mind. Most of their stars are unfit. Romero will be back, but he's a yellow card, red card waiting to happen. To be honest, if he loses it, Uruguayan, I think. Just let Bruno and Joe Linton get into his head, and then we'll be playing with 10 men for the last hour. Yeah, prediction time. That's coming up in part 3. This is somebody else, not Jesse the Bin Dipper, doing Zencastr. And I've got a recording of it, so I'm going to play it, but I don't think it's very good.
Do you have a story that the world needs to hear? Have you struggled with reaching new audiences who are engaged with your story? Well, it might be time for you to start a podcast. Let me tell you about a platform we use here at Global Sports Podcast Network. Zencastr makes it easy to start a high-quality podcast built for growth from day one. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes the ums, as, you knows, and 22 other speech patterns, Zencastr makes it super easy to start a podcast that sounds great. Ready to tell your story? Well, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
There you go. What do you think of that? Prediction time. It's tempting to think we're going to steamroll at Tottenham because we have done in the past. They're not in very good form. And actually, saying that, they're second in the away form tables in the league. But that's coming from at least a month ago and before. Because away from home, their last game, they probably defended quite resolutely. They didn't create a single thing. And held out for about 35 minutes against Arsenal. But once they went behind, Arsenal picked them off at will and won 4-1. I think they might be playing a similar sort of game to that against us. Whether that works or not, I don't know. I think the emotion of the crowd could play a big part. I think we're far more likely to, having scored early in the last 2 games that we've played, and having watched Tottenham concede 2 in the first 6 minutes on Saturday, I think we score early. If we score early, we go for a second, we go for a third. See, it's tempting to think we're going to steamroller them, and I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as that. I think we'll score early, and then again to be 2-0 at half time. There'll be some changes made for resting. And do you know what? Richarlison will do something, but we'll score again. So I'm going for Newcastle to win 3-1, which I do a lot. And let's be honest, I had quite a good run for my money against Everton. 3-0 at half time. It looked pretty good. I nearly cashed out. I should have done. I had Malek Chow as the first goal scorer, though, at 25-1. So I was all right. Didn't care. First goal scorer tomorrow night. Who do you think that's going to be? Ooh. What about Barnes or Alanga? One of the wingers with a ball through from Voltamada in the first 10 minutes. So you put all of that in a bet builder, you're going to win a fortune. So yeah, that's my prediction. We'll win. We'll win 3-1. It will be messy, probably quite a few cards, but I think it'll be comfortable. I think we'll just have too much for Tottenham. They're a little bit in disarray, and they've lost a few. So although they went 2 behind against Fulham, and then they won the last 85 minutes of that game 1-0. So I don't know if it's going to be a stroll in the park. I think it'll be hard fought, but I think we'll end up emerging with the 3 points and a little bit of an addition to our goal difference. 3-1 for me. If you've got a different idea, of course, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you would pick the same team or if you would rotate heavily for this. Because maybe Burnley, the dark horses, fighting for their lives, scrapping. And they were one of the few teams to beat Sunderland this year. Maybe that's a harder game. Let me know what you think. If you like what you've seen, by all means, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. Anyone who'd like to join us, put a little message on. We've got gaps. There's too many solo pods going on now. We need assistance. There's food for thought now. We shall see you soon.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.